I saw him asking, he wasn't here. So I just wanted to sure.
I didn't know if they were here for that.
All right, it's a little bit after 7. Let's start our caucus. Joe and Chris are not here yet, so they're here. Let's wait for them for a second. Anyone else have anything to talk about before they get out here?
I'm the chairman of the streets department.
You are? Yeah, congratulations.
Mayor, we're making a change to that first resolution for the Heinz Fund meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock every other month?
Every other month on the
5 months.
Wednesday. Yeah.
And the finance needs change too.
I think we do have to change the first one.
Finance needs change the first Monday before the first Tuesday, and the first month of the week.
We'll be getting that. We'll be getting that.
How are you? Good. What's changed?
So that's in addition to this right here on the agenda.
Yes, the Heinz Fund was just figured out here tonight, and then it might change. But if it does, then it'll have to be re-advertised.
Okay. Chris, you want to talk about the ordinance establishing the process of use?
Yeah, did everyone get a copy of that? I came down, talked with Paula, we called some other communities, that ordinance she got from another community. We talked about the computer system, or not the computer system, but the new credit card, and she still a little flustered about it. So Russ and I talked about it, and he said maybe Bob Motors can come in and talk her through it, and then if you can have the fellow, and I told her we would pay her to stay after work to learn it.
Yep.
And we contacted 2 other communities that do it, like a third part, and this is down the road once we get this ordinance done, that does a third-party billing, and a lot of people want to just do it online. They don't want to come here, and I said, Paula, if we do this online with the credit card, you're not going to have a lot of people walking in there. Yeah, so, I mean, once she learns this, how to use this system, then the next step is to do it online. And that was just the problem with this credit machine. The guy says, no, we can't do it that way. And that's when Russ said, you know, I'll have Bob Motors come down and look. And there's a third-party system. It's called Infintech. And then there's another one called Nport. And it's a webpage. You can do it online.
And there are other courts using it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So once she gets the hang of this, then we can go to the next step. And that's what I said, Paula, you do everything online, you're not going to have half the traffic coming through here. So that's our next
She said
step.
Baldwin today has a system, and we use Baldwin right now. I believe it's like $60 a month, I think is what it is. But I thought we could do it for less than that, than we do for free, probably if we set it up the right way. But we'll look into it.
Yeah, like I said, Canfield uses Infotech, and I have all the information. And then another village out of the area is Nport, and it's just payments online. It's very simple. So then I said, well, then what we would have to do then when the officer issues a ticket is just have a supplemental piece for how you could pay the ticket.
Yeah.
You get a credit card online, come in here, and that. And I said, I'll make things really simple, Paula. Very simple.
I agree.
So if you can coordinate the fellow that installed it, she just said he went too quick on it, and she just really needs.
So we were basically waiting.
I said, you need 2 hours. And I said, no, at least have him give me an hour.
Okay. Yeah, that's not hard.
No.
And she'll probably write it down on a cheat sheet.
Right, yeah. So the ordinance is the first step.
So we couldn't do anything no matter what until this is passed.
Yeah.
All right.
So we want to pass this. And that was about it. So hopefully, and it's a $5.
Yeah, 3 o'clock.
And we're going to do this as emergency.
Okay, roll call, please.
Another.
All right, Joe, you want to talk about the resolution setting the monthly meeting schedule for boards and committees?
Yeah, it'll be the same as this year, right?
Joe, I went back through the minutes. When we did the notifications of meetings last time, remember I had everybody say when they were going to be? I found 3 mistakes in that. One of them being finance, wage, and insurance did set a time. It was the first Monday. It was the Monday before the first meeting of the month. The Hind Fund said that they were going to meet in odd months at 10 o'clock on Wednesdays, which at that time may change now. And then the last thing on the bottom, the reference one where it said the fire district meets at the Township Government Center, they actually meet at Station 92.
Right.
So what I did was I corrected it.
Oh, very
If it's
good.
okay with you, I'll pass it out.
Heck, yeah.
The only thing that's going to be different from what I hear now is this 3 o'clock time and 10 o'clock time, so we can...
Yeah, that.
Well, we'll call it 3 o'clock for now.
Because it's printed as 10 o'clock on here, because that's what you guys did at the last meeting.
Right.
You want me
3 o'clock
to, you want to
tomorrow.
scratch it and make it 3?
Scratch it and make it 3.
So on the original,
And then
on the
once-
official
then- Then if there's any change to that, then we'll do a resolution.
Okay. And then, so that meant that, this paper was also wrong, the committees of council. So I fixed that one too.
Good
And I
boy.
added all the boards and commissions, so when you get your new resolution, it's on the blue paper. On the back of it is going to be the council committees, but just remember to get your red pen out and change that one time from 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock.
Oh, very good. Okay, good
Because I
job.
want to make sure we had everything that matched, since I won't be here to fix it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Jeff.
And then, Joe, what I'll do after this is passed is I'll correct this time to 3 o'clock in both places and make sure that Paula gets the right ones. Okay?
Sure. But, Bill, we change that often, right? Maybe. It depends on you. But
Well, I think
who cares?
what it's going to be is, we'll set a time that's convenient for everybody, or for most everybody, and if I happen to have a field trip, then I'm just not going to.
Yeah.
All right, anyone else have any Cox items? Well, let's go talk. Let this guy talk about it. The lights.
Are you good the lighting? Yes. Okay, you want to speak now then, since we're in caucus?
I'm pretty sure.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
James Rosen couldn't make it today,
Okay, as I'm looking at it, I wasn't sure.
so he sent me instead. But so what we did is we looked at all the lights here, the fixtures, exit lights, outside, the poles, the signs, took everything in consideration, and basically we looked at what the wattage that's burning now, sent it in through our program with First Energy, and they gave us an estimate of savings, which I'll just read the numbers for you. I'll give the report to you too, to view it. Let's see. So we came to an annual consumption reduced by 18,132 kilowatts per year. That's kilowatts, so that means a total savings annually of $2,234.52. And this is a rough estimate. It'll probably be more, but this is like, what they gave us back. Also, we looked at, this includes all the tubes, upstairs too, in the office, downstairs, the A19s, candelabras, the 6-inch recessed cans outside in the gazebo, and the floods and exits. So basically every light you have. Let me see. So that's the annual savings. So monthly it would be an amount of $186.21 savings. And that's for the life of the lights. Now, these lights you have here last 5 to 6 years. These will last 22 years. And after 22 years, they don't go out, but they'll reduce the quality. So where these will, after a couple of hours after you screw them in, they'll lose quality after a couple of hours, and after 5 years probably blow out. That's just the quality. We deal with a company in Cleveland which makes lights for the military, like military grade. So it's the best LED quality they have right now. All right, so that's the savings per month. The project cost is $10,622. We did get a manufacturer rebate of $671.85, which would leave the remaining amount of $99.50 and 15 cents. So that's
What was that again?
$99.50.
Yeah, $99.50 and so $9,950.15.
5 years to, almost 5 years to get a return.
So I'll just pass it here. All right.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any questions for him?
No, not really.
I know that we were doing this down in the county.
We did it at the fire station too.
Yeah, and when we were looking at doing it, we're still looking at it at the court actually. It's been done in other parts of the county, I believe. One of the things that, and I didn't know if at the time it was different than now, but there were different grants and different things that were available to help convert older buildings like this and older electrical, whatever they're called, into the newer, the newer technology. Is there anything out there that either we or you could look at to help reduce the cost, the implementation of it? Because I know the council's probably saying, well, 5 years to get back the amount of money that we're going to be billed, with the savings you're projecting. Is there anything to help make it more enticing, if you will, so there's less outlay for the village, and we can still have savings?
We have a contact person, actually Charlene Barb, who works directly with First Energy, and she's anything she can find to help towards this project, she'll add on. But so far, because the rebates were up until like last year, and then First Energy said there was an amount they had a budget that they ran out of, but there are other incentives. So she's basically looking at it right now. So this is what we found now, the best we can do now, but she's still looking for ways to even reduce this.
When would we have to make a decision by in order to get this rebate? And
well, the manufacturer rebate that's a definite, so it doesn't matter how long you'd wait. Basically, there's a 90-day period of signing on and finishing the project. So we guarantee, like within 90 days, everything will be changed and fixed and in order. Yeah.
so it sounds like it'd be prudent to talk with Charlene.
Yeah.
And see if there's anything else we can do to get any other rebates or. Okay.
Yeah, for government.
I've got a question. The cost of the project, does it include fixtures, in other words ballast, or is it simply bulbs?
What we do is the LEDs don't require ballast, they bypass ballast. So instead of pulling light out of the bulb and the ballast, it's just the bulb. So like for example, this right here would probably be 3 bulbs of 65 watts or 60 watts. It would be 2 bulbs of 12 each, and then throughout the facility. That's why the savings will be that much. Yeah. And then also there's less labor since there are no ballasts. They're not being so that's also what we looked into: save labor, ballast costs, and replacing bulbs.
Okay, you save the fixtures.
Yes, so we retrofit.
So you have 2 bulbs and 1 open socket.
It will be just as much light, if not even more, because
I know, but what about the open socket?
Well, some of them here had like 4 and only 3 in. So it's not necessary to have an all filled, have bulbs everywhere.
I know, but
What do you mean? I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
well,
He's saying
you don't like an open socket.
He's saying there already are open sockets.
Yes.
I guess the question, Mr. Major, is will we know where we have 2 bulbs versus 3? Will be any difference if we look up at the lights like we're doing now? Any difference if we put 2 instead of 3 up there now?
I don't think so, because they will be brighter, and there's a, they're covered, so it won't be a difference. If there will only be a little bit more light and less wattage pulled, that's the only difference we see. And if also you guys would like to decide in what color, if you want it brighter certain places or darker certain places, like the office, I believe Russell's office, he wanted the same tint. So we could change, that's after, like that won't affect the price at all, like the different shades so that's also an option. We'll go into like in depth also with our electricians.
So we don't have to have that blue light look of some of the LEDs. We can
No,
have
you
yellow.
don't. Yeah, any light, it's not all that. The blue is the real bright, it's the 5000K they call it. That's more for the car dealers and outside, but this is the warm color you want in. So.
Some of our lights are on, have rheostat switches. Is a rheostat an issue with these type of lights?
No, everything is taken in consideration. Also the dusk to dawn lights outside at the signs. So there's, we took everything, every light you have here in the process. Yeah.
You had talked about adding a light to the parking lot too. Brighten up the parking lot at night.
Yeah, we talked about that before.
I didn't know if you could work that in for the cost of the rebate money, because I think we did that at the fire station. We added something that was the cost of the rebate.
Yeah, we might, there's a possibility of adding additional lights.
That's no problem.
Possibility.
Yeah.
You guys in Blueprint have anything?
It's pretty dark in here too.
Also, this office is
Just one light.
Yeah, we looked at that too, and I believe we're going to advise for a little bit brighter tint.
Okay.
I would say probably a baseline would be at least 20% reduction in the initial cost before council would be in a position to maybe consider that. And I know the timing is important, but if it's costing $10,000 to get these savings back, I imagine at least $8,000 or less would be where council would probably consider it. Even that outlay is a lot, but I think they can justify it to the public that for 22 years we're going to be recouping this money and making money for them. But initial is hard, especially when I imagine that, and I don't know what the county did years ago, they actually took out money, funded it, and then they paid off the money and paid off the bond with the savings. You don't need to do that here in the village, luckily, but just that outlay is what's, So I imagine keep us updated, and if things come to fruition with Charlene, that there are grants or something, then maybe council would consider it. Is that a fair statement, or is it a little different?
Yeah.
I think that's a fair statement.
Especially if we could get any type of a government grant,
Yeah, there's got something
something
coming
out
up.
there to help.
EPA, look at the
Yeah.
EPA.
EPA, that's true.
Is there a direct contact person I could email back and forth over my questions?
Probably me.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for your
Thank
giving this
you.
away. Appreciate it.
We won't tell Joe you did a better job than he would have done.
Anyone have any other items to discuss? Caucus? I do. Good.
I received a inquiry and return phone call from Jack Shetler from Old Stone Tavern. I'm sure most of you know that there was a fire in his building. He will be having some work done, replacing the roof, replacing the siding, and replacing a window. He contacted me to find out if he needed to have any zoning permits, and then what the process would be for the Architecture Review Board. So I am working with him on this. So I did instruct him that for the projects that he does have, there is not a need for a zoning permit, but there is a county, there are county permits required for what he wants to do. So I did instruct him on that, and I'll, like I said, continue working with him.
Anyone else?
Everybody got copies of the request from finance for all department heads and committee chairs to forward to the Finance Committee what you're thinking of in regards to the budget, because it's coming around quick here. Are you available February 2nd? It's going to be the two of us. Well, Nick will be there. But Bob is going to be out of town for that meeting. So.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
When you guys are done,
Yeah. We just need our wish list.
Somehow there's never an end to the wish list.
Yeah.
Only the money measured up.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of police. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, with Nick earlier.
I have one thing to bring up. Joe, we will talk to Gary about getting together
Yeah.
about this thing.
Yeah, but we didn't set a date. Let's do it this week. I was going to call you.
Yeah, let's give me a date.
February 2nd. Did you get a copy of this? It should be in there.
What's the best time? Best time? So.
That would be February 2nd. So we'd like to have all at once.
Yeah, daytime.
Well, daytime. Let's do,
Tomorrow.
Do you have a copy of it?
I have an extra one.
Thursday or Friday, anytime after 9, anytime from 9:30.
No, I'll give you that.
And, I'll probably do it.
I can write it down right now.
Early. Well, yeah, late.
Okay, Thursday, Friday.
Let me know too.
Okay.
I'll get
There you go.
Is that an extra one?
Yeah.
Anthony, you have anything to talk about?
I do, that's why every time she changes it up. I don't have to set up the
When I came here tonight, Dave gave me paper, which is the deed from the Reeds to Mr. Eiselstein. And I imagine there's two reasons he gave it to you to give to me. One is establishing the property line going to the middle of Yellow Creek, as identified here. And the other is that he notes that there is not a valid easement for the state of Ohio for the highway. And he says that because it was not conveyed nor was it signed. I'm not utterly proficient on title work, but I'm pretty sure that the deed was filed, or the easement was filed, and it's valid. It's notarized, it's in the book of records. I don't think it has to be signed. I'll call a friend of mine who does title work to verify that, but I think to start, the easement is good. That's my presumption going in, but I'll check that.
So you notarize that?
Yeah.
Okay. No, back.
Why is he telling us that?
I'm going to guess. My guess, because I got a phone call concerning where we stood on rebuilding the pavilion. And I talked to this person in the past, and I said, well, we stand where we've always stood, which is we want to help. You know, I think, I'm not speaking for council, I'm speaking for myself. I think the pavilion's a nice thing for the community. I think it has a good purpose. There's no one who didn't want it. It was that it had to conform with the law, and he didn't do that. And once he set off on that path, and, the die was cast, and we had to do what we had to do. But now that that's past us, no one holds any ill feelings, and I know I don't, towards him nor the project. And I would be happy to meet anytime he wanted with this council or with him to map out where it should go, to make sure it doesn't, violate again. And he said, so you can't put it back up where it was? I said, no. That was the whole point of it, was that it was in repairing setback. And absent a variance, which he could do.
He could do that.
He could do that. Why don't we just find somewhere that it can go and not have these issues? So I drove down there the other day, and I looked to see where I thought it might go, and my son happened to be with me, and he was saying how the kids will go under the pavilion when it rains, and they'll take shelter, and how, you know, people watch movies, and he was, why is it torn down? And I didn't want to get into the story. But nonetheless, there is a place for it to go back there that is not in violation of the riparian ordinance, not in violation of the state of Ohio's easement, and I'm willing to meet with him on that. And if he's not happy with that, then he can certainly apply for a variance, so we can talk about what effect the pavilion has on the creek. So I'm guessing that, number one, he was trying to find out, or trying to say that he can put it under the bridge because there's no easement. That's probably his first argument is going to be. The second argument probably is going to be that the riparian ordinance is somehow off, or his property is somehow, I don't know, how the line of his property being in the Yellow Creek doesn't matter to me. I mean, it can end at the end of Yellow Creek, you know, on the other side of it. That doesn't change where we take the riparian setback from, which is the middle of the creek. So I think I understand what his argument would be. I don't think they're valid, but I will look and I will check them out before I, tell council where we stand. But my position, and I'll call him tomorrow, is I'll call his lawyer actually, because I know he's represented. That I'll ask about the easement. I'll ask about why he highlights the center of Yellow Creek, and I'll volunteer to meet with maybe Dave, myself, and him, and he to try to figure out where it can go. And I think that's very fair to do that. So that was one of the things that I was actually working on this week, and then got that on top of it. Can you need it back?
I would like to.
Yeah, you can have that. I think I remember what it stated. One more thing I want to talk about. I have about a minute. I did talk to Paula about the violation and about the ordinance, and I did review it tonight, and I think it's fine. And I know there was some other discussion about processing everything. I think it's fine how it's set up. And Nick, I deferred to Nick on how he thought it should flow, and I'm perfectly content with that. So that's good as well. I think that was it. But if I remember, I have my report coming up, of course, Mayor, so.
I always look forward to that.
Glad you did.
That's all for the meeting.
And right on time.
Yes.
You said a couple of years ago, the cemetery paid property to the people on 170.
Okay.
Remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of members.
Here. Donovan. Here. Here. Mr. Major. Here. Mrs. Cerny.
Here.
Mrs. Yash.
Here.
All right, acceptance of the minutes from the previous council meeting.
Make a motion that we waive the reading and accept it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Notification of meetings and events to the public and news media. Bloopers.
Not tonight, so no announcement.
Finance.
Finance is going to meet on February the 2nd at 6:30. This is budget.
Legislation.
Nothing scheduled.
Police.
Nothing till next month.
Streets.
We met this evening, next will be the third meeting next month, or second meeting next month.
Boards. ARB.
We will have a meeting the first Thursday of this month. It's February 5th, 7 p.m., Village Hall.
Planning.
Canceled for tomorrow.
Board of Zoning Appeals.
Nothing scheduled.
Western Reserve Fire District.
The Western Reserve Fire District has changed their meeting in February, and we will be meeting the first Wednesday of the month at 7:30. So this is the only time that it will be changed. That's for personnel.
Okay. Forest Board.
We meet the fourth Wednesday, right?
And fourth Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday?
Yeah, fourth Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay. Yeah, so,
And High Memorial.
Tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Right. Report from Mayor, the December court report has been completed. Also, the December Violations Bureau account has been balanced. I will get with Paula and the people from the credit card and get that set up for training for her. There is an Eastgate meeting next Monday at 10 a.m. at Eastgate. And we had talked last time about appointments for citizens, and I got the list from Paula. The best I can tell who is up for renewal, and I'd like to recommend that these people be renewed again. For Planning Commission is Rebecca Rogers, and for the Forest Board, Frank Kagowski and Beth Queen. And there could be others, but someone I can decipher here. End of report.
Motion to accept the mayor's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Report from Fiscal Officer.
Okay. I'm circulating around the list of bills to be paid. This one's a little longer because we didn't have any in the first meeting of the month. If you'll notice, about a fourth of the way down on the first page, the shell bill for police is $1,600. There were times last year that reached almost $3,000, so that's a huge help. I'll circulate that to you the reconciliation of the bank account at Chase as of December has been completed. I'm circulating that for your signatures. You have in front of you the numbers for last year. On the long sheet, if you look at the second line, which is the street fund, we started the year with $22,700. We ended the year with $9,900. So we really spent a substantial amount out of that fund. Basically, Hot Patch probably ran us around $8,000 last year. The rest of the funds go through. The only other one that I point your attention to is the permanent fund, the second from the bottom, which is the Heinz Fund. We started the year at $48,000. We only received $2,800. The reason for that is it was decided that rather than turn the money over monthly to the village, she would reinvest. So that money is being reinvested. We have $23,000 in expenses. The fund balance at the end of last year is $26,935. We will be setting our budget for that amount of money because there is no more. We set the budget last year for roughly $30,000. We only spent $23,000. So we are within, we are okay. The only thing is then, if we spend that whole budget at the end of 15, we have no money. So she's going to either have to write a check for $25,000, $30,000 out of the investments, or start giving it to us once a month. But I will sit down with her, and I'll go over all this.
So you're no longer getting a monthly check
No,
because that money's being reinvested,
it's being reinvested.
which, is a good concept, except that now if you're going to start running so tight
Right.
or start having issues paying bills over there.
Well, the budget's only going to be $26,000.
So, yeah,
They have to live within that.
however you're going to set that budget, keep that in mind because you don't want to run out of money here.
Yeah, that's what the budget is going to be, $26,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nick, on this, what's our overall deficit for the year?
There basically is no deficit.
There is no deficit.
If you notice, like the general fund, we started the year with $1,400,000. We ended the year with $1,374,000. So we're really not doing too bad. The street fund, like I said, that really.
Well,
yeah.
would you consider that, is that
difference is almost 100,000 or 800,000.
Well, it was 1,443 and 1,374. We spent 65,000 out of the general fund on the new, truck.
Right.
So if we don't do that every year, we're okay.
So our Ohio Star account,
Our Ohio Star account is where it was when we started the year, $917,000.
So you didn't pull any out of there for that truck?
No,
You were
because-
able to make it without doing that?
Right, because there was some inheritance that was left in the general fund from the year before.
Okay,
So we just used that money up and now,
okay.
Is the inheritance done as of 2015?
the inheritance for 2014, we received $1,453.
And now that's it, we're
That
done.
should, well, we may get $500 or $500.
So, but isn't it 20, what year was it going to be?
It was abolished, I believe, the governor's first year in office.
That's been a lot, we're just getting what's left
Yeah,
over.
we're just
Okay,
getting like,
okay.
Claims that were already filed.
Police really watch their budget. Streets, like I said, we had some large expenditures, but then all the rest of the funds held pretty good.
so basically we absorbed 6,500 from our general budget and still had it.
Yes,
even.
65,000.
Yes, but-
Yes.
okay, thank you.
And it's been a few years really since we've done a transfer from general to streets. The streets has been
It has
hanging
been.
on.
Right, it has
Hanging
been.
on, and
And,
we're going to see a whole year's worth of that income
right,
tax, so hopefully
so we'll see how that does.
it
this
should
year.
help.
Okay? The 2014 accounting records are now closed, and we are now working in 2015. The 2014 annual report has been submitted to the Auditor of State's office, and the first publication will be in the Vindicator tomorrow, and then once again next Wednesday. The employee W-2s have all been issued. Federal, state, and local tax returns have been filed. The farmer's checking account is now open. Checks are on order. I should be receiving those this week. The deposit slips have been ordered and received. The endorsement stamp has been ordered and received. $600,000 has been transferred from Star to Chase and now into farmer's account. The state and the county ACHs have been submitted, so that money will now start going into farmers. The only thing left with the EFTs are the retirements, and I will handle that this week, and then those will be done, and those will all be withheld out of farmer's account. So I'm thinking within the next few weeks, we should be swung into the farmer's account. We'll just let Chase work itself out, and then when that's done, we will shut that account down, and we will move that back into Star.
So you don't have many outstandings left for Chase, correct?
Just these that were issued not
Because you
tonight.
had to
But
issue those, yeah.
But those will clear.
Yeah.
So even if we go,
So this is the last bunch, really, you think? And then
I'm hoping
it should be good to start up with farmers.
the first batch of checks for the month of February will be issued out of farmers.
Okay. Are you going to need motions for, to close that Chase account?
Well, it's either
Let's wait till...
we
the
do it or
next-
they're going to
yeah.
do it for us, so it really doesn't matter, I think. But that would be better if we have a
Yeah,
motion.
just so we have it on the
But
book.
we'll do it once it's all done.
Okay.
And the report.
Motion to approve the fiscal officer's report. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Anything from the deputy clerk? Report from zoning administrator.
We already talked about the letter that we received from Mr. Eiselstein, and we also already spoke about Jack Shetler and the Old Stone Tavern, so no report.
Report from solicitor.
Nothing other than we talked about.
Report from chief of police and street commissioner.
Department's been in writing.
Motion to accept.
The new lady, when she started, we approved that or immediately?
A call in one.
Just remember, she has to be bonded.
Is that the administrative assistant fill-in that you're talking about? So you've already interviewed her?
I have not. Russ talked to her. I will. But I'm just wondering, she's ready to go whenever, correct?
Yeah. I'll get her in to talk to you.
Do we know, we've seen this lady, right? She was here, right, Bob?
I don't know, I
No?
don't recall seeing it.
Hey, maybe she should bring it to the
I'll get her
council
in.
meeting. Yeah.
When you talk to her, ask her about the possibility of Jeff's position.
Okay.
See if she'd be interested.
Okay. She live in the village or not?
No.
Doesn't matter.
All right, Joe made a motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Report from engineer.
Nothing right now. We have to get a meeting together because we've got some plans. Bill would like to get some street work started, and hopefully this week we can meet.
Okay.
But it depends on Gary.
Reports from outstanding committees of council, finance, wage, audit, and insurance.
Now, the main thing for us right now is to get started on this budget and have it passed in time to meet the ORC requirement. First meeting, February 2nd. And please have all your requests in by that time.
Motion approved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Legislation and Policy Committee,
Nothing.
Police and Fire,
Nothing.
Streets, Sidewalks, and Drainage.
Nothing.
Any
Oh, no,
political-
excuse me.
Just one thing regarding streets. We talked about this before, but I'm requesting that the Streets Committee start looking at what we're going to be doing about the issue that we have about paving and paving next year, and also the Finance Committee. And if there's anything that we could or should do, because we're going to need to pave next year.
I mean, this year.
Or this year.
This year.
You mean in the way of levy?
Possibly.
Well, they won't come into place until next year then.
Well, you'd want to see something put on the ballot, you mean, in the fall?
I'm thinking, well, I know we need to do something. Just asking the Streets Committee and the Finance Committee to start looking at that. And that's probably the way we have to go.
Last time, I think we resurfaced less than a mile, and it was like $95,000.
Yeah, but cost of petroleum has dropped significantly.
But we should have a program, a long-term plan.
Well, we do. I mean, we would...
No, we don't.
I mean-
Our long-term plan,
Well, no, but I mean, as in the streets, when we were, not when we were paving them, but what street was ranked and what was next.
we have
So
that
we know
plan.
what-
But how to finance it, there's no plan.
Right. Well, the financing has always been a problem.
Yeah.
Always. And we've never been able to pass a street levy, which is part of the problem.
And the longer we try.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we
We've tried a couple times.
The longer we put this off, though, the more expensive it's going to be down the road. And we should have a cycling plan. That's my suggestion.
Well, I mean, I think it's a great suggestion. The problem is the revenue side of it. If we don't have money that we can count on to fund that kind of a plan.
That's why probably a levy.
Right.
Levy is really the only.
Do we have anything on the ballot coming up in 2015? Any renewals or anything?
No, not us.
I think 15 is the off year.
Yeah.
So it could actually be a good year to ask, to get, some input from the community on how they feel about this. And I know you can only fill holes for so long.
And there's some roads that are just terrible shape, and can't continue to patch them, and then.
Okay, what we always did, we'd ask Russ to give us a list, worst ones, and we worked on it. And the one we had before, we called it SOS, Save Our Streets. It didn't make it.
Well, it's the people's choice.
Yeah.
But our job is to maintain this, this village as best we can with what we have, and if we feel that we need revenue to keep the streets up, then we should ask for it.
An idea the county did when they were talking about the sales tax, they broke it down into areas. Austintown, Youngstown, Boardman, and they would go out, the commissioners, to each area, talking about why the sales tax would benefit that area. And if you were able to maybe have something at North, something at the library, break it down into different areas of the village, and invite the neighbors in that area to say why this road levy would help their streets, and build a coalition piecemeal, and maybe 5 major groups or 6 major groups, how you break them down, rather than trying to get the message out to everybody in one big message. Because everyone's going to be remembering they just voted for the police levy last year, and they're going to be a little confused maybe as to say, well, why are we voting for something else? You have to really explain to them and make your case. And I think a year is enough time to do it. But I just know that when the county tried to look at it as one entity, it failed many times. When they broke it down into individual entities, focusing on each area, they were able to build a better coalition and get it passed.
I think that's a great idea. Being more specific,
Good, you can share that.
I'd be happy. I nominate you to do that. I'd be glad to get it out then. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, we have to start someplace with it. I mean, it's a bit overwhelming when you think in terms of 1 mil for us is $57,000. Yeah, I mean, that's what gets so overwhelming about it, because how much can you even do with $57,000?
That's exactly why we need to get on this, because the costs are so high. And if you continually just let this go by, and all of a sudden we find ourselves where we have 10 miles of road that has to be paved, there's just no way we could do that.
Something to think about. We've talked about before, start looking at withdrawing from the township and applying for that money to see if we can get it.
I think it was about between 20 and 30,000, if I remember correctly when I looked. And it's not that you automatically get it. We talked about this. You have to have a case for the commissioners to give to you, but I think they would. I really like how they divide the money out. I think they want to make sure every village and every township gets a little bit. So I didn't think you would get it in the past. I kind of changed my opinion on that now. I think if you...
Actually, I think it's more than
It's
that.
0.9 something mil, so it's almost a full mil.
So we're talking $40-some thousand.
But that doesn't mean that we would get it. I mean, because there's going to be other people applying for it too, as soon as they know it's up for grabs. But like you said, Anthony, I think a lot of it has to do with they look at who's in need of it the most.
So be careful there, though, because there are, the schools in the village, the township police spend a lot of time here. And if we pull away from that, then we may lose that. I know that's not worth $40-some thousand, but
What's the impact with schools? I'm not following that.
They do a DARE, like a drug
Resource
program, middle school.
they're at the school. The township officers are at the schools all the time.
And they wouldn't
Not all
do
the time,
that
but a lot.
if
Most of
we
these.
were...
You don't think they would consider that?
If not, if we're not part of that government entity, they couldn't or they shouldn't do it.
But do they get a grant to have a resource officer in there paid for?
I think they do.
Well, how can, but if we're not part of the township?
How can we,
So then maybe one of our village guys.
Well, that's what I'm saying, then all of a sudden, an additional cost over to us that the township is now doing. I'm just saying
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
something to think about.
Anthony, does Youngstown City Police Department provide a resource officer? Do you know? Or do they just use their security department?
They use their security department.
Because I was just thinking about Paul C. Bunn being the warden.
Well,
It's also schools, so they'll still be able to go there.
yeah, and I don't know for sure. I know East
I know
has,
Boardman Police go there too.
yeah, and I know YPD work East High and they work
The sheriffs do too.
But Mr. Chairman, I think that grant that the Poland schools get, I don't think they can exclude these schools because they're in the village, because they're Poland schools. I don't think the dividing line would be,
Yeah, but since it's the entity that's providing the service is the township, not the school.
you mean the one that's getting the grant? I see what you're saying. They're the beneficiaries of
Still, it's a cost to the township. The township certainly is getting reimbursed for it.
I see what you're saying.
Okay, but that entity, all of a sudden giving a service to an entity that is not part of their system.
But are they hired by the district to do that? Are they an employee of the district, or is it just a part of
I don't know how that went.
I think the way it works is that on those grants is that you have to have someone employed, and then the grant reimburses the money that was already expended by the entity. The grant doesn't pay for it. The grant is not the employer. The grant is a reimburser of the
Well,
employer.
you may be right, but
And the reason I asked that is because if they come into the village, it would be more as a security detail, not as a police enforcement detail, if I'm thinking about it right. So if they had an issue, they would just call Russ. Russ would have the arresting powers, those guys would have the security. But that's something that you...
But what I'm saying is I see a township car at North Elementary several hours a day. Same thing over here, same thing at North. I don't know what they're doing, but I know that I see the cars there many hours a day.
So you think it's more for like the DARE projects and those kind of things that
I'm
they're...
not sure. I'm not sure. We'd have to...
Well, just the President's Day, you know. Kids see the cops.
I'm not sure what the arrangements are, but I know we see a lot. I see the township cars there a lot.
Are only townships allowed to apply for this funding? No?
I don't believe so. I think you can. We used to have one at the court. We had a resource officer that worked at the court, and we still do. They're a truancy officer. We get a grant. We pay for them, and then we get reimbursed.
I would imagine Russ probably has a better idea about this certainly than I do. So if we do start thinking about,
Doing this?
yeah, but still, let's get back to where I started. Our roads need to start getting paved, and we need to find revenue for that.
Well,
I
that's
hate
where
taxes.
I was going with this
Yeah.
revenue.
Right, exactly.
I think if you look internally in the village and you let the folks say, do you want better roads or not? It's up to you. If you want it,
Yeah,
or not.
exactly.
It's not that you're imposing and they're trying to, like with the, we did, but we saw what happened with that. But I mean, if you give them the choice and let them make you give them the power, and I think they'd like that.
tried that
Yeah.
twice since I've been there, and they said resoundingly turned
Well,
down.
so at some point in
So let's
time, when the
try
roads
that.
are deteriorated to gravel, they're going to say yes. But you just have to explain to them that you need to cycle these things. You just can't wait for everything to deteriorate to nothing.
Most common response to me is, why should I give you money to pave my street? You haven't paved it for 10 years. Well, no kidding. We don't have any money to pave it. But that was what I got most of the time.
That's a vicious circle. If you wait too long, and then they get worse, and then you're not doing anything. So why
The cost is double.
Moving on to Blooper.
Tim's going to make them.
We met tonight, we just discussed the needs for 2015, and looks like we're going to need a new roof, and that's going to be a big expenditure for here.
Okay, question. Is this currently a slate roof?
I don't think so.
It's asphalt shingles?
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's what I wanted to know.
Why, you do roofing?
No, but I just wanted to... I was actually asking the question from an architecture review board point of view.
How's that $500 in your budget that you didn't spend last year, Jack?
I'd be happy to give it to you. Happy to.
Motion to accept?
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Reports from boards, Planning Commission.
Nothing.
Board of Zoning Appeals.
Nothing.
Architectural Review Board.
Nothing.
Forest Board. Hyde Memorial.
Nothing.
And Western Reserve Fire District.
The new chairman is Todd Lytle from the township, and I will be the second chair, and our representative from the township is Frank Bennett. And then that we have just switched our meeting for February to be the first Wednesday of the month. And that's it.
Motion to accept?
Oh, and then one thing, I question why the Boardman Fire Department was at the fire at the Old Stone Tavern. Apparently our ladder is so deteriorated inside from our water that they've had to send it out to a company, and piece by piece they have to clean it out and rebuild it.
They're making parts too.
Don't know how much it's going to cost, but it's because of our water.
Yeah, the ladder truck is out of control.
Yeah. Well, the ladder is. Yeah. So it was nice that Boardman assisted on that.
We only have one ladder truck?
That's enough. We don't need to.
Well, with all, with all these various sites that we have, we only have one ladder.
Right now we don't have a ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. That was because of our water deteriorated the inside of it. But I do believe he said it was over, 20 years old, the ladder?
Yeah, it's an old truck.
So that was interesting.
Motion to accept.
Can I go back on the forest?
No.
Second?
Yes. Let's do, yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good.
Okay, Sunday, I got a call from Frank Witowski, and the sewage from Boardman, where they're working on that new pipe, was flooding the woods. So we got in touch with Russ and with Chip and with Mrs. Sweeney, head of the health department for the county. She got in touch with the EPA, and finally the contractor got down there and did something.
Turn the pumps up.
Turn the pumps up. I don't know how you turn a pump up. Either it's turning it. Well, anyhow, they stopped it. But we got a big problem down there in the woods. Yeah. Okay, I just want to mention. Well, you knew about it, didn't you?
I did not know about it.
You didn't know about it? Okay. Well, we called everybody except the Pope, and the mayor.
And the mayor.
So will what they're doing with that replacement, will that rectify? Oh, that was the new replacement then?
No, I guess it was bypassing where they were working. And the pump was not taking all the sewage from the Boardman, and it was just spreading around in the areas. Yeah. St. Frank Dragowski and Randy Jones. That's who called me, Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, we got a problem.
Motion to accept the revisit?
Second. All in favor?
That's good.
Yeah. Any opposed? Okay. That's it. Reports of special committees. Communication from residents. Any new business? Any old business?
I remember what I was going to remember from before. Did the lights get taken down yet? They did, good, because on Monday, I think it was, or Saturday, they had not been taken down. I texted Phil. He said he was going to get out this week. I want to make sure they were done. Okay.
Oh, on that score, I got the honorary resolution here for Michael Simon. Should we invite him to the next council meeting? How do you want to handle it? You should. Will you be here?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Should I give it to you and you can take care of it then? Because we want to make this official.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Did everyone sign it?
Yeah.
Kathy's at the meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, everybody signed it, huh?
Is Kathy Lynn going to meet at Hind Fund tomorrow?
Should be, but I'm not going to be there.
You're going to be at Hind Fund tomorrow, right?
Yeah, 3 o'clock.
Maybe have Kathy Lynn call in, because I don't remember anything. I know Russ does, though. I'll get a one.
Oh, I know his number.
Okay. Yeah,
I
you want to...
remember that?
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, motion...
Okay, next week, our next meeting.
Next council.
We'll have a meeting for it.
Motions, ordinances, or resolutions?
Yes, I have an ordinance to establish a processing fee, cover expenses incurred by the Poland Mayor's Court Violations Bureau for the electronic commerce, and I will declare this emergency.
So was a motion.
It's an ordinance.
So
The motion is to waive the
waiving-
3 readings, correct?
Second.
Declare emergency.
Second by Linda or Bill Pickle. Roll call.
Mr. Cassett?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Attorney Limmer?
Yes.
Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Cernick?
Yes.
Mrs. Yash?
Yes. I would like to move on this motion.
Second?
Roll call.
Mr. Cassett?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Attorney Limmer?
Yes.
Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Cernick?
Yes.
Mrs. Yash?
Yes.
6-0 carries.
All right. Other motions, ordinances, resolutions.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3 readings for a resolution for council committees and to declare an emergency.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Cassett?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan? Yes. Attorney Limmer?
Yes.
Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Cernick?
Yes.
Mrs. Yash?
Yes.
6-0.
Motion for a resolution establishing a monthly meeting schedule of the Poland Village Council committees, boards, and commissions for the year 2015 and to declare an emergency.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Cassett?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan? Yes. Attorney Limmer? Yes. Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Cernick?
Yes.
Mrs. Yash?
Yes.
6-0.
All right. Other motions, ordinances, resolutions.
Do a motion to approve the mayor's citizen appointments to the various boards as stated during his report.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anything else? All right. Second and third readings. Presentation of the bills.
Make a motion that the bills be paid.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Questions from the news media? Remarks by council. I'd like to start. Thank Jeff for his service and wish him the best of luck in his new venture. I'm sure we'll cross paths again in the
I'll
future.
be back on the weekends.
Good luck.
Goodbye.
Yeah, okay, great. Mrs. Cernick.
First of all, I have a question about that. So this is your last meeting, correct? And good luck to you.
Thanks.
And we're sorry to see you go, but we're very happy for your new
If I hear noise, I'm
position.
coming back. So.
But, okay, so where are we with this?
Yeah.
Are we advertising for it? Are we...
Sort of putting feelers around town. Chris has talked to a couple people maybe, and I have a name of someone that may be interested.
Okay,
Whoever it is,
so
I can go over how I did it, and if you want to go over how you did it too.
is tonight your last day is my question.
I start my new job on the 2nd.
On the
So I'll be
2nd.
around. And I'll be gone on the weekend, so it's no big deal. If I need to help out with something, I can.
Okay, but officially, when's your last day?
Well, I only work 2 days a month, so I guess it's today.
Or the end of the month.
However you want, I mean, I will still have the minutes done, and I'll have all the publications and everything done. So if there's a special meeting between now and the end of the month, I would be there.
Okay, so till the end of the month? Okay. Because we obviously need somebody to do this. We can't just assume that publications are going to get done or minutes are going to get done.
And that was why I told everybody at the beginning of the month, so that
Thank
there was
you.
that 4 weeks.
I know you did.
That went fast.
Yeah.
It did. You think it went fast for you?
Well, I have someone, I don't want to put anyone in a bad predicament, but my wife said she would do it if no one else would step forward.
Will she keep your speeches shorter if she's here?
She said she wants to need more time than she does now, so she
She knows
wanted...
how to look ahead and shut them off.
Yes.
But that's just if no one else, I don't want to take anything away from anyone,
Nice
so
to have
if
you.
you have someone...
No, I just checked with the Diane Engel at the fire department to see if any of those secretaries would consider it, and I haven't heard back from her.
Why don't we wait to hear that?
Well, we're also going to look at this new...
Yeah, the new lady.
It'd be great, the new woman.
She's good, I mean, she, you know.
So I would say
In
it's
the
backup
office.
at this
Okay, and
point.
then they do know they're not just going to do minutes, they're also going to do all the publications.
Right,
and-
right, but I said that might be a nice
Certifications.
incentive for, because
Okay.
Paul is, what, 12 days a month, I mean, a year? But if you had something else, the 2 nights is an income too.
What's that time I always work?
And if you know anyone, Linda, pass the word.
I
I just
do.
put it out there, for the fire department, because the one lady would like more hours, it's a part-time secretary.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with whoever council wants to pick. My thing is that we have to be sure that the person who does this understands what they're going to need to do. When you say 2 nights,
Right,
that's for the minutes, but there's
takes me
more
about 8
to it
hours a
than
month.
just that.
8 hours a month.
That's a good way to.
Yeah, that's what I.
Should this be advertised?
And I
Probably should be advertised.
I asked the question if Joe Granito was still in town. If we get stuck, because he did it for how many years at the township, he could sit down, do it, and probably better. And if he was going to be the guy, then he would be the guy. And if he was just the sub until you found the full-time person, he might be a good fill.
He's still all right?
He's not on item, but he's still around somewhere. He's out in the township somewhere.
Yeah, but Joe retired,
But you
right?
do not have to
Yes.
be a resident of the
No,
village.
no.
Not anymore.
Be nice if he was not.
He's on Clinton Crossing or somewhere.
He's a good guy,
Full
too.
township.
And he knows, he would know how to do the job because he did it for all the
Yeah.
years. So, I don't know if you'd be interested, but that might be someone to check with, if you get stuck.
All right. Mr. Limmer?
Well, I want to thank Jeff for his excellent service to the village, and I wish him well in his new career, and come back and visit sometime.
I'll be there.
Chris?
I'll be here Memorial Day, so.
Yeah. Good luck, Jeff. Thanks. Good luck.
Mr. Cassett?
Good luck, Jeff.
Thank you.
Good luck, Jeff.
Thank you.
Mr. Manager?
Same. Yep. Hey, are you going to handle the 4th of July
No, I'm going to handle Memorial Day.
for Memorial
I
Day?
already have secured the parade permit, so we're good to go.
Oh, good.
We're ready to go.
Good.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? 8:09. Means adjourned.
You're making us mad, Jeff.
Service